This module is going to focus on shoulders. This dress, we've just raised the shoulders a bit, and we'll be talking about how to do that. Where it's this narrow, it's kind of borderline. You can either do it completely internally, or you can do it mostly and then hand stitch this over. I did it completely in. If it starts getting narrower like this, you'll want to do the hand stitching across here on this outside seam. This bride came in and she said, at my bridals, my straps kept popping off my shoulders. I couldn't get them to stay on. I think I need them tighter. Well, frankly, on her body, they looked pretty tight. And I said, they already seem tight. And she's like, but what do I do? I need them. And I was like, well, you don't really want them embedded in your flesh. This isn't comfortable, and also it's just not a good look. It doesn't look good in pictures when it's squished into your flesh. And so I told her my magic trick, sticky straps. Sticky strap right here on the lace, holding it here. Sticky strap in the back, right there. And then they have skinny ones, and you might need to cut it in half all along that edge, and then just place it. It looks so much better if your strap is just floating over the top of your shoulder instead of embedded in the flesh and you're miserable and you hate life. Sticky straps are the way to go. On this shoulder module, we're also going to show how to raise the shoulder on a lace. It's just got netting underneath. We're going to raise this up right up here on the shoulder. Let's get started on that. Okay, we're going to take the shoulders up on a dress. This is a sleeveless dress. I've already done this one, as you can see. Let's do this other one. Now this one, it needs to be taken in a little more on the inside than the outside. And we're just going to keep that in mind. We're going to unpick, first of all. By the way, I love, this is an Olfa Touch knife. I don't use razors, I use these. They just they're bigger, and so my hands feel better on them. They're just more comfortable for me. I just get them online at Amazon. Let's get this unpicked a bit more on this side. Now, the neck is the one that we're going to be stitching. This outside one, we're just going to have it as open as we need to. If we need to, we'll open it a little bit more. Let's see how it goes. First, I need to measure where I'm going with this, so I can get my lining the same. So that's right on 1, and then this is on 7/8 inch on the outside. Now, something to remember is always line up the sleeve edge together. Your inside neck edges almost never line up, just because that neck curves around and stuff, and you can just never expect it to line up good. So get your outside sleeve edge, and then realize that your inside one is probably going to be funky and off. Okay, let's get these outside edges lined up, and the inside neck edge, look at that, off. See how that's off? They don't line up. Don't worry about it. If you try and make a match, you'll just make a mess and everything will be lumpy. Just accept it. The neck edge is always a very dynamic edge. Now here was our original seam line. I'm going to go in, let's see, there's the neck edge is 1, and this one is 7/8. So I'm going to measure there. Now I'm going to measure out here for my 1 inch, right along there. That was where I was stitching the original. So let's go out to here and just aim at this. There we go. Okay. And see that? Look, they don't line up, but that's how it is. And let's do our lining side now. I'm going to trim this. Let's do our lining side. This out here is the seam, the sleeve side. Pin that. Good. I'm not going to even pin the other side till I get this under the machine. This side's harder since we unpicked that a bit. Let's get 7/8 on this outside seam. Here. There you go. Let me make sure. Right there. Now, I'm just using that needle and the presser foot as a hand, and I'm going to line these up. It's a lot easier just to get it anchored and then start. Look at that side. Come on. There we go. And there. There's our sides, our seam line. And once again, the neck edge doesn't line up. Let's look. Get 1 inch on this side. Right there. I'm just going to put a pin to anchor, and that pin is marking where my 1 inch is. Turn this side down. Okay, now, here's the sleeve side, here's the inside neck. Sleeve, side, neck. Now, this is the part that you need to get and make it look really good. We've got all of this understitching going on here. Oops. We need to unpick that out a little bit, and we'll redo it after, but we need to get to the let's get on this side too. To that seam allowance on the inside. We kind of need to pull all this understitching back out of the way. And then we can just restitch it afterwards. And I feel like I need to open up the sleeve side a little bit more so we have better access. So I'm unpicking this outside sleeve seam just so that I can get a little more access inside here for the shoulder. There we go. Now this is another place. I always do it the side up where you can see. You see how this is the fold? This is where that understitching is. I do it that side instead of this side where you can't really tell where that understitching is. It's easy to catch that on. So I always do start my seam and sew my seam on this side. I can see, here's my regular stitching. I want to go right on top of that regular stitching. I'm going to put my needle in there. I'm going to do a stitch. And then I just use that to anchor and to hold this while I get all the rest of the layers lined up. Hold on there, guys. Now, do you see this where they didn't line up? See how they are not lining up? And that's okay. We're just going to taper down and make it happy again. On both sides, we'll do our best. Try and line those up. And just going to let it taper. And then I use that to anchor again. I usually get about to the shoulder seam, and then see here it's open, and then back here that's where that understitching. And I'm just going to taper back down into the other seam. Let's see what it looks like on the outside. Do you see that ribbon that they had in the neckline? There we go. It's not a perfect lineup, but we're doing pretty good. Now let's get our understitching. Start with our inside one. When you're doing this understitching, because this is on the outside, try and adjust your stitch length. I think I'm about there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you get it close to the same stitch length as what's already there, it'll blend in better and you'll have a better blend, so it looks like no one. And you can see right here where they're understitching, that's where they didn't line up, and we just didn't worry about that. We've just tapered into it. Make sure nothing's catching underneath. Oh, and make sure that your seams are folded to this side for the understitching, of course. I'm just going to rearrange and just take a bit at a time. She's got all kinds of stuff going on underneath. Just a little bit farther here. And then we're going to meet. You see the original stitching there? We're just going to meet. We'll go about 3 or 4 stitches on top of it. Okay. Now let's do that outside one. Here's the inside one. See, we've just blended it in. I think I'm going to make my stitch a little bit longer. Seems like it needs to be a little longer. Sure you haven't got anything caught underneath. Let me put this down and I'll check. Things look pretty smooth there. So we'll start again. And I really use my machine, this like a hand, a third hand, to help hold things in place. Especially when you're doing alterations, you're in some tight spots, and that third hand really helps. Just take it a little bit at a time, make sure everything's nice and smooth underneath. Don't be in a big hurry. It takes a lot longer to unpick than it does to just take your time and be careful to start with. Look, we're almost to the other end. There we go. There's that part. Let's trim our threads off a bit. Now at this point, you can finish this outside sleeve edge 2 different ways. You can do it internally, which is what I'm going to do, or you can just fold these in, pin it, and then hand stitch this edge closed. I'm going to do it internally though. Let's get inside this dress. This is a really nicely made dress. And here's where I've opened up to get inside of it to do the internal. Let's go over. Here we go. I'm going to first do the front half, and then I'm going to do the back half. Okay, here's our sleeve on the inside. Let's pull some stuff up out of the way. There's the shoulder seam. I'm going to line that up and pin it right there. And let's do this half. You got to make sure when you're doing this that the rest of the dress is out of the way. Kind of push it back with your finger so that you don't get that stuck inside, because trust me, that's annoying when it happens. Now, I'm going to pull this back out and maneuver around to the back side now. Got the front half. Well, there's that half done. Now I'm going to go through this hole again, but I'm going to come around to the back. See all my hands under there? I'm grabbing from the back now. And then again, I'm going to get up to that center shoulder seam. Pull this through till I get there. There it is. And I've got to keep all of this stuff, that inside, away so that it doesn't get caught in the seam. Okay, can you see that in there? That's the neck edge. Now here's the shoulder, and we're going to pull it down and stitch that. Work from my shoulder out. I'm going to use this to anchor, and then use that like my third hand. I'm just tucking all that under there, making sure nothing's getting caught. Just keep going down until we hit this end. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. La! There it is. You can see that boning right there. That's where that ends. And there that is. And you see you've got your understitching done again. That needs to get trimmed. That bugs me. Right there too. And then this just needs little threads. Get all those threads out. Some more. And then you need to iron. And then just press this nice with your iron. Okay, there's the shoulder. This beauty of a dress, we need to shorten the spaghetti straps. We're going to shorten them 4 inches. I didn't pin, I always just measure because the pin usually falls out of a spaghetti strap anyway or snaps the girl, so I just measure down. Now we're at the back. We always take our spaghetti straps in from the back, not the front. And I'm just going to measure up my 4 inches. I'm going to do a tailor tack, because I'm going to have to turn this dress inside out to get access to this, and having pins, it's just annoying. So we're not going to do it that way. We just do a tailor tack on that. And then I'm going to seek and find as best I can. Got a pin there for the top of this dress through the lines. My hand's tunneling up through the linings right now. There's my hand. Okay, so I've got a hold of that. And here's my tailor tack. This is for other alterations. Ignore this tailor tack. This is the one we deal with. This one for there. Okay. Now I've got to pull this lining through. This pin is important for the bustle, so I can't take that pin out. Especially on this dress, it will get completely lost if I lose that pin. The skirt is so full and luscious and beautiful. I love this dress, if you can't tell. Okay, so we're just gonna unpick as little as possible in order to get the spaghetti strap through. Don't want to over unpick, just what is necessary. Keep that hole as small as we can. Let's pull a little more. Let's see. Almost. Let's see on this side if there's something holding it up. Come on. Something still holding it back. There we go. Now, I gotta move this so I'll be able to get that in the machine. Let's pull till we find, I'm gonna look through here. Let's pull till we find that tailor tack. Up, see it? There's our tailor tack. Now we're just going to stitch this down well. Okay, I'm going to push that back down in so that it lines up with the seam. See that? I'm going to put my finger, my needle down. I almost called it a finger because it's like my hand. Now I can get things arranged, and it's holding things in the back. I've got a pretty tight stitch going. Now, unless it's really visible on the outside, I like to keep that length on this and not trim it, because it can, somebody else might want it longer, or they might want you to adjust it, and if you cut it off too soon, that's just not good. Now let's pull this back out. There it is. Now there'll be some stitching right here that we unpicked that you need to trim. You're good to go. There's your spaghetti strap. Okay. This beautiful dress, love it. I love how the lace just looks like it's floating up on this illusion. Needs to have the shoulders taken up a ½ inch. Well, an inch, but a ½ inch when you fold it in half. Okay, there's the underside. See that seam there? And then we've got the lace over top. Now, conveniently on this particular dress, covering both sides of this netting is this flower. If that was not the case, I would tell you to go to the back side, like right here, and make that shorter. But since we have it right smack dab on the shoulder, and I feel like the manufacturers did that just as a Christmas gift for us seamstresses, we're going to take it from here. Let me show you how this works. We're going to unpick this pretty little lace off of here. Oh, look, it's been hand tacked on. Yay. This is even easier than I could have imagined. This is definitely Christmas for me. Looks like they just popped that flower right on top of that seam there. Let's take it right off. Okay, well that's far enough back. There's our seam. Now, guess what we're gonna do? Because this is lace and it's kind of a heavy lace through there, we're gonna stitch it like this. And I think I need to move this back a little bit more. Let's see. That looks good on that side. I feel like a little bit more on this side needs to come back, so we're not into the where we're having to sew. There. Pull this one back a little. Okay, let's take that out. Okay, now you're saying, Dee Dee, what are you doing? This is the top side. I know. I'm not making a mistake here. I'm going to sew it this way. But I'm sewing it this way under the circumstances that I have a very heavy lace on top of it that's going to cover this seam. I wouldn't do this otherwise, okay? Let's line that up as best we can. And a 1/2 inch right there. This is netting. I'm going to make a pretty short stitch. Yeah, there we go. The reason I'm doing it short, first of all, because it's netting, also because it's the shoulder seam. And we do not want our shoulder seam breaking. That I can't think of anything worse than having your dress fall down from the shoulder. Okay. So, yes, I really did it. I did it the wrong way on purpose. Now, let me show you the back. There's the back. The back looks fine, lovely, wonderful. And the front, I think we're going to stitch this one. Unpick it just a little bit more so I can fold this over top of it. Come back here a little bit. Now, there we go. And put that on top. And put that on top. And we're going to put this on top. And you know what? It doesn't show at all. It will look beautiful. You want to make sure that's right over top. Smooth that out. Okay, let's pin that on and we'll hand stitch it back on. Just how they had it. Only it's an inch shorter than it was before. See that? That's how it looks on this side. Do you see how it looks on the back side? Very nice. Very nice indeed. Let's get some thread. And when you're stitching, try and it's got that silk cording outlining the edge of the lace. It's always good to try and tack that down and do your stitching just so that it helps tack it down. You don't necessarily every single stitch need to be tacking it down, but quite often it really does tend to just kind of jump off the lace if it feels like it's being abused or it's been trimmed too close. And it ends up, let's flip this over so we'll stitch on the back side. Don't want to do it too tight. You want this lace to just look like it's floating on top. Okay, let's see where we're at on the top side. Okay, that's a good spot to come back up. Okay. It's just not on. There's that inside. There's the outside. Beautiful. Ta-da!